Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to an individual episode of the Reconnection Space. So this is the space that we come to think about those reconnections with ourselves and to think about reconnections with the world around us. And then in these individual episodes, what I'm doing is I'm looking at questions that you have sent in, viewers, followers, people who are interested in getting reconnected with themselves. And this week in Be More HQ, we're looking at this concept of setting healthy boundaries. And it's really apt and appropriate because we're in Mental Health Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Week. And one of the things that can happen when you have low self-esteem is you do not have good, healthy boundaries. Boundaries about how you treat yourself and boundaries about how you let other people treat you. And the question that comes up a lot from people is, why do people still always treat me that way? Why do I pick people that treat me a certain way? Why do these patterns keep on coming into play? And the question is a great question, and the answer, the solution isn't simple, but the answer is pretty simple. You know, I like to be quite honest and direct. It's because you let them. Now, that isn't saying that you're doing that deliberately. But if you are constantly finding that you are having relations with people, whether they're friends, whether they're lovers, whether they're partners, family, where they are treating you in a way that you feel doesn't meet your standards, doesn't go over your bar, that's my favorite analogy, remember, raise that bar, then the reason that is because you allow them to continue to treat you that way. Now, as I say, when you have low self-esteem, one of the things that happens is that you don't value yourself. Now, this could be because you've never been valued. No one has demonstrated that you are worthy. And also, our self-esteem is based on that need to feel secure and safe and looking for an environment in which we belong. So if you worry that you're not going to belong, and if you worry that you're going to be excluded, and if you worry that if you disagree or there's conflict, people are not going to stay, even if those people don't treat you the way you would like them to treat you, you can actually find that you go along with that behavior because the fear of being on your own is worse than the treatment that you're experiencing, or so you believe. So that's really crucial because you're looking for that feeling of safety. You're looking for that belonging. As human beings, we all want to belong. We all want to find our tribe. And, you know, you have to decide what that tribe looks like. And if you haven't been given loving, good role models so that you value yourself and you understand how you treat yourself so that you can allow others to see that, so they can replicate that with you, then that's when you get into difficulties. So you might find that you let people treat you in a way that disrespects your values and steps on your boundaries. And you might find that you are accepting of that behavior when really you want to be explaining and communicating that that's not suitable. You might find the term people pleaser. You might find yourself wanting to put everyone else's needs first and feeling as though your needs are not being met. And even though you see that, you can't stop yourself from doing that. You might be saying yes to things that you really want to say no to because you are concerned about the consequences, you're concerned about what life would be like, and there's a part of you that's holding on to those relationships. So, can you change it? Of course you can. You're choosing to let people treat you in that way, and you can choose to let them treat you differently. But as with all change, you've got to take some action. So the first thing that I want you to do is think about that concept of how you treat yourself. How would you like to be treated? And the first thing is is write that down and think, do I treat myself that way personally? And if not, why not? And if not, what changes can I make so that people see that I'm respecting myself? It's that old analogy, isn't it? If people don't take you see yourself taking you seriously, why are they going to take you seriously? So you've got to step up, okay? And remember that you are valued and you are loved, and you can start that by just doing that yourself, okay? So look at how you treat yourself, write down how you want to be treated, and start thinking about how you do that first of all. Then look at those relationships around you and think about the ones that aren't quite meeting those standards, and just make a mark against those. What is it that they're not doing or they are doing which is going against those values and that feeling of being valued? And when you've done that, sometimes you've got to be brave and step up. And this can take time, and this is where therapy can help you find that courage and that space to step into, because these people, they don't know that that's not okay. You think they might know, and sometimes people do know, but you haven't communicated to them that it's not okay. So you need to do that. You need to think about the choice you're going to make. You can either accept that that's how they treat you and do nothing, but it's going to stay the same. You can think that it's going to be too hard to have that communication, so you may just wish to end that particular friendship or relationship. But the best thing to do is to try and communicate and let them know this isn't okay. Now, if there is a relationship in your life where you don't feel safe having that conversation, have that conversation with someone you do feel safe with, and talk about how you can start to make the changes in that relationship. It is very easy to be someone on the outside when you see someone in a relationship where there blatantly is an abuse of power or responsibility, and think, why don't they just end that? Why don't they just walk away from that? And it isn't that easy, because you're committed emotionally into that relationship and you want it to work, and you don't want to realize that you've been wrong, and it can be scary, and sometimes you don't want to be on your own. But really think about, why is it that people treat you that way? Well, that's because that's how you let them. So now you have to choose whether you're going to allow that. And this comes back to my favorite story that I tell of expectations of people, and what you order off the menu, you need to expect that you know what you're going to get, and people, they will choose people over and over again, and they'll keep allowing people to treat them the same way, and then they're going to be surprised when they get the same outcome. So be really honest. If you have someone in your life and you know they treat you in a way that you don't like, and they don't hide that, and they've not given you any signs that that's ever going to change, stop being surprised. It's like going into McDonald's. Remember, it's going into McDonald's, knowing you're in McDonald's, knowing that the burger looks really good in the picture, knowing that every time you order it, doesn't look so good and it doesn't feel so great afterwards, but every time you're ordering it and you're expecting it to be a GBK, you're expecting it to be a gourmet burger, but every single time you do it, it's a squished McDonald's. So lots of things going on there. So let's recap. People treat you that way because you let them, but you don't have to keep letting them. It is not your fault that you let them. This is not about blame. It's just about being accepting. Maybe you were never shown that you were valued. Maybe you're scared of the consequences. Maybe you're worried about what life will be like if this person isn't in your life. Maybe you're worried about the communication. How do you want to be treated? Start by doing that yourself. Look at how you treat yourself, raise your bar, treat yourself well, role model it for others. Look at the relationships in your life, decide which ones are working, and if they are, great, why is that? And if they're not, why aren't they working for you? What's going on there that needs to change? And then think about how you can safely communicate the fact that things need to change. And also, finally, think about what happens if you communicate to people and they don't change. What are you going to do then? Okay. But most of all, remember that expectation isn't communication. People won't change unless you communicate to them in some way. And first person you've got to communicate with is yourself. So there's lots of reasons why low self-esteem doesn't enable us to have healthy boundaries, and that plays out in allowing people to treat us badly. I want you to really think about, can you put some healthy boundaries in place? We're going to do some follow-up episodes about what it means to say no. And no is a full sentence, and it doesn't have to be debated, and it doesn't have to be, I don't have to justify myself because I don't want to do something. We're going to continue this theme. And all this week over on the Be More Find Your Raw Facebook group, I'm talking about healthy boundaries in Mental Health Awareness Week. So if you have a question that you would like answered, or if you would like to appear on the Reconnection space, drop me a note. If you love seeing what's on here, click like and click subscribe, because you'll never miss another episode. I hope you enjoy these snippets into the world of Be More. I hope you find something useful, and I'll see you all soon again in the Reconnection space. Take care.